Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is episode 117 of Weather Weekly. Good to be with you here as we are on the tail end of the month of March. Thanks for hanging out with us here. I am Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey. For some of you that are parents, spring break this week, next week, if you're going somewhere, safe travels to you. We'll briefly kind of touch on some of the hot spot areas in the forecast for the week ahead if you are heading on out. Otherwise, if you're here in central Indiana, we do have some more promising news after what was a very cold weekend across the area dating back to St. Patrick's Day and then those falling temperatures and then, little winter chill over the weekend here. But it does get better. It gets better as we go into this week. We're looking ahead to the forecast for the week of March 20th. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. Episode 117, as we look ahead, the week ahead for March 20th, 2023. There are some big ups and downs here as we go. And look, it's not unusual here for the end of March that we have big swings. We are right in the heart of transitional time. It's why we just came off of Severe Weather Preparedness Week. This is a time of year that promotes pretty active weather when you're going from warm to cold to warm to cold, and it happens a lot basically between now and May. And so that's what we're going to be kind of seeing here as we go over the coming days. Let's get you started here on a Monday, March 20th in the morning. Pretty cold. Numbers into the 20s. I think we're going to bounce back, though, after a very, very cold weekend. I do think we're going to see those numbers rebound nicely. Now, I still think we're going to be a little bit below average. All right. Not by much. By this part of March, we should be around the lower 50s or so. We were only in the 30s for much of the weekend for highs. I've got us with a high of 49 on Monday, the 20th for the afternoon. I think it's going to be full of sunshine, too, so we should be in pretty good shape as Monday comes about. Monday night, no problems. Mid-20s for the overnight hours, and then heading into Tuesday, the 21st. I think we're back to average or maybe even above average temperatures with mostly sunny skies. We'll see numbers back to the mid-50s. I think about a high of 56 on the 21st. So we look good there. On Wednesday then, there's still there's some questions on timing in terms of precip. I do think the pattern turns a little more active late week for the 22nd. I'm going to say showers in the evening, but that timeline could differ a little bit. But it does, again, come with some good news, and that is some warmer temperatures. I think by Wednesday, we're probably sneaking up to around 60 degrees here on Wednesday with a chance of showers. And then rain probably for the day on Thursday, a little bit warmer, 64. That's on the 23rd. And that will be kind of an on and off thing all day long. In terms of rain. And then Friday, we're looking at maybe some lingering showers. I know it's a little bit out there. It also looks like the wind machine may start kind of cranking up a little bit too. And I've got numbers right around 60. So again, that's still running a little bit above average for this time of year. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, the heaviest rain appears to probably come somewhere in the time frame of Thursday. All right, so Thursday the 23rd into Friday the 24th is what we're kind of looking at. It looks like we're going to have kind of a surface low that'll be riding up here. It does yank that warmer air in here, and that should provide us with a pretty healthy amount of rain to the tune of maybe over an inch over that 3-day stretch, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then it looks like we might get a shot of, I'm going to call it chilly air. It's definitely not going to be the big troughing, the big digging out that we had over this past weekend where it was just really, really cold. over the weekend. But I do think we might fluctuate our temperatures to at or slightly below average for the weekend here after kind of a mild end to the work week here, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday specifically. In fact, if I look at the national blend of models going in for the weekend, it's not bad. Advertising, mid to upper 50s both days. That's be on the 26th and the 27th. The 25th and the 26th. In fact, we might see a little bit of a bounce back. Maybe a bit cooler, mid 50s on the 25th, which is Saturday, and then Sunday, maybe pushing closer to 60. I think both mornings there for the 25th and the 26th, you'll look at numbers into the upper 30s for the morning. And right now I have both days relatively dry. We may have some leftover showers early in the morning on the 25th. That's Saturday. But as of right now, I'm kicking most of the rain out of here, and you're going to kind of have a little ridge of Canadian high pressure that will settle in. In terms of winds, as I mentioned, I think that Thursday-Friday time frame, the 23rd and the 24th, breezy. I think the windier of those days will likely be Friday. Doesn't appear that it's going to be kind of, really nasty winds, but you're going to have kind of like what we just had this past Friday on St. Patrick's Day. Pretty warm winds coming out of the south through much of the day, and then that front's going to move through. Looks like later on Friday, afternoon, evening. We'll iron out the details as we get a little bit closer. But you'll get the winds kind of flipping back to the north and west, which is going to promote some of that colder air, what we call in the weather world cold air advection. And that's going to yank some of those cooler temperatures. You want to go a little bit beyond that. Looks like we might have a shot, at least according to the GFS, of a little bit of rain on Monday, specifically in the morning. And it might be cold enough Monday morning. This is on the 27th. Throwing in a little bit of snow on the northern edge of that system. So that could mean the northern areas of Indiana, northern half, so north of I-70. That's a long way out. That's a week away. A lot can change from there. The GFS, one of the models we look at, says yes to that. The Euro says the snow is probably going to be a little bit closer to maybe the Indiana state line. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep you updated. Doesn't look like it's going to be anything significant, but again, could see some of that colder air diving down. And again, just looking at kind of the upper air pattern here over the coming days, if we go a little bit deeper into the forecast, we have that quick little trough digging in on Monday the 27th. That's going to yank down some chillier temperatures. It would appear possibly running a little bit below average. Again, normal high for this time of year, typically into the low to mid 50s. We might see numbers kind of in the 40s that day. Looks like we get another good round of ridging and some warmer, which would promote some warmer conditions here in the upper levels by the 29th on Wednesday. So that would lead me to believe that we could be pushing into at least the upper 50s, if not 60s, and that might be through the end of the week. So that goes pretty deep in the forecast there. That would be the 29th, which is a Wednesday, the 30th, the Thursday, and Friday, the 31st. And that would take us to April 1st. We kind of get out into no man's land a little bit there, but there might be some hints of another pretty big trough digging in maybe to start off April that could promote some pretty chilly temperatures. So bottom line, again, none of that's set in stone when you go that far out, but I just kind of want to give you some hints of how the pattern is reacting here, which is there's lots of ups and downs. It's very active. And when you have that kind of action here, it usually comes with some sort of precipitation as well. So there'll be numerous rounds of rain and or snow. Don't want to rule that out as we go through the next couple of weeks here. In terms of rainfall amounts, I did brief on that, touch on that briefly. Bottom line is really our best rain opportunities are going to come in that time frame of Wednesday, the 22nd, Thursday, the 23rd, Friday, the 24th here. And a lot of the model projections now are going really statewide anywhere as low as 1 1/3 inches. Well, I'm sorry, maybe closer to an inch in southeastern Indiana, but the vast majority of Central, northern, southern Indiana, well over an inch of rainfall. In fact, some areas could be flirting with around 2 inches of rain right now. Some of the projections are kind of putting that west of Indianapolis, where the bullseye of maybe 2 inches of rainfall could be, and then maybe some northern counties north of the metro area as well. The hard number for the metro area at 1.8. So again, that's, it's factoring in a lot of days that go far out. So a lot can change here, but it does look like we'll get some healthy numbers. And as I previously mentioned, a lot of that's going to come probably in that Thursday and Friday timeframe. So the 23rd and the 24th. So that's kind of a look ahead here. Some milder days to look forward to as we get later on this week. I should mention here, if you are going to be traveling for spring break, I promised that I would briefly touch on that. You know what? We'll do that coming up after the break. We'll also do some stats for where we stand, and we'll should have the April outlook, or at least we can get you well into April in terms of temperatures and precipitation as well as we wind down this episode of Weather Weekly. That's coming up next. All right. I did want to, since I promised, I'll do a quick little recap. If anybody is traveling down for spring break, the hot spots usually along the Gulf, whether that be down in Florida or you could be going on the Atlantic side. This cold spell that we experienced over this past weekend, past St. Patrick's Day, wasn't just us. Now, we were kind of in the core of it, but it expanded all the way down to the deep south. So if you are traveling here, this is released on a Monday, maybe you're heading down to Gulf Shores or Destin, Pensacola, Panama City, Orange Beach. That's on that northern end of the Gulf. It's going to be chilly here for at least Monday and maybe even Tuesday as well, as some of this chilly air kind of hovers in. Kind of modifying a bit heading into Tuesday, and then by Wednesday and beyond, and then heading into the weekend. So this is, Wednesday is the 22nd, and then going into the weekend, or at least Friday. It looks like it's going to be pretty mild down along the Gulf. Some of those northern places that I previously mentioned finally could bounce back to the 70s. So nice finish to the week if this is your week for spring break. If you're going down to deeper in Florida, you're going down to the Tampa area, maybe Sarasota, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. It actually is going to be a little bit cool in places like Orlando and Jacksonville, Vero Beach. But you get farther south, you're probably going to be in decent shape for most of the week, but still, a little bit on the cooler side for this time of year. But like what I just said, warming up by that 22nd, 23rd, 24th time frame. It does appear that there's going to be another trough digging in for the weekend here. And I don't know if it goes quite as deep as this previous one from the St. Patrick's Day weekend system. But very chilly all the way into northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. But it does look like things stay pretty mild along the Gulf Coast and all of Florida, too. And even if maybe you're heading to Myrtle Beach, that looks to be in pretty good shape for the spring break week of Sunday the 26th and beyond. And that appears to be pretty mild for most of that week. So if you chose that week, if you're a balanced scheduler, and you chose the second week for spring break, you chose wisely. Looks like it might be pretty mild down there. But weather looks to be pretty cooperative. There's not a ton of rain chances coming up for the this upcoming week now, the week of the 20th. Hard to tell on that next week because that's so far out. But when you don't have any big swings like that, down there you can get kind of your garden variety showers and storms at any given point, but no widespread system or anything like that. So that's a quick little recap on if you're traveling for spring break. And if you are, safe travels. And may I suggest, by the way, the Storm Track 8 weather app, not only good for here in central Indiana, but you can set your location. So it will alert you to weather alerts, and you can get the forecast for wherever you're staying anytime for free. Just go to your phone's app store and search for Wish TV Weather, and that'll get you taken care of. All right, let's do a little recap here. We're getting close to the end of March here. Precip for the month, 2.72 inches of rainfall. That's still on the plus side of 0.94 against the average. Last year, this time, we were just shy of 2 inches of rainfall. And since January 1st, we're at 9.24. We're on the plus side of 1.91, so almost 2 inches to the plus side here. Last year at this time, we were at 7.66, so we're well ahead of schedule there. Not so much on snow. For the month, 1.3 inches of snowfall, which has ended up turning out to be one of the snowier months that we've had. Normal value should be around 2.1, so we're actually not far off. We're only about an eighth of an inch off. Last year at this time we had a trace, and since July 1st, 9.8, and that is down 14.4 inches of snow that we are missing here. And at this point, I don't think anybody's complaining. We don't want to try to play makeup now. 8 to 14-day outlook, and this kind of just reiterates what we were saying. Near normal temperatures, this will take you between the 25th and the 31st, and a decent signal of above average precipitation. So, again, no surprise there. We were talking about that, how you're going to get some of these big swings and temperatures over the next couple of weeks. 3 to 4 week outlook. So this will be April 1st to the 14th, first half of April. No strong signal either way with temperatures. So it's going equal chances for above or below. No help there. There are some signals, though, that we will stay active, and that really shouldn't be a surprise. April, typically a very active month, kind of ramping up our severe weather chances usually in April as well, but a decent chance for above average precipitation. And there is a monthly precipitation and temperature outlook for the month of April, for the entire month. Looks like there's a strong signal for the eastern and southern parts of the country of above average temperatures, and a decent signal that we could be going above average in terms of precipitation. That was issued back on March 16th. I'll have another update coming out here later in the month as we do gear up for the month of April. There you go. Hope you're updated here as we look ahead to this last, it is the last full week of March, technically, right? Because April 1st starts on Saturday. So here we go. Man, we're just flying through things. My kids already had their evaluations for baseball season, and I think we'll be starting practices here pretty soon. The season will be here before you know it. A lot of the spring sports are right around the corner. I know if you've got high schoolers or middle schoolers that they're probably already well into practicing for the spring sports season. So good luck. Here we go. Hopefully the weather will cooperate as we go over the next couple of months. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's podcast. Always appreciate your time. You can get our forecast anytime on wishtv.com and, of course, the Storm Track 8 weather app, a free and excellent download. You can also catch my forecast Monday through Friday on Wish TV locally here in central Indiana. That starts at 4 a.m. While you're here, check out all of my other friends' podcasts. They're wonderful, they're great, and they're all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a great week. We will talk to you soon, and God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com, and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.